this deck.
I do.
Rug Devotion. We saw this a little bit earlier today, too, sitting at 7-1.
This is exciting. I spotted this deck in round 5, I believe. He was undefeated. This is the first round that I actually got a chance to kind of like walk up and down the undefeated tables. There were about 20 undefeated at the time. It was just like standard deck, things we've seen before. And I stopped in my tracks when I saw what Alan was up to.
Yeah, this is anything but traditional. The matchup we did watch Alan play a little bit earlier today when he was 5-0. He won a ridiculous second game, being stuck on one land for like 3 turns against a blue-white control deck. Patrick and I were in the booth talking about, okay, when should he concede? Because like the blue-white control deck takes a while and he wants to have enough time to win. And then his blue-white control opponent ended up just, I mean, maybe mismanaged one of his Sphinx's Revelations because he cast a Revelation for 2 when his opponent was stuck on, I think, 1 land. And could have just been a little bit more patient with it. But I mean, in the late game, he just bricked like crazy and just could not answer 2 Mistcutter Hydras and lost. And so now Alan was 6-0 then. He's 7-1 now. He's got his Devotion deck working. He's playing against Oscar Casasola. And this deck is just a Bant control deck, something, you know, basically a blue-white control deck with a small splash of green for Kiora is basically what we're looking at here. Nothing crazy going on. This is a deck that Brian Brondoin, Chris Van Meter, some other players in Roanoke really wanted to get to work. And Brian was actually really impressed with Kiora and how good it was and how easy it was actually to activate the ultimate on the card. I think that was his biggest surprise. You see a Mistcutter Hydra here from Alan. It's going to be for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, for 6. But yeah, that's basically what we're looking at here. It's basically blue-white control with a small splash for Kiora.
I walked by his feature match earlier, and I saw a Sphinx's Revelation deck with some green temples. But I assumed it was Bant control. It actually turns out that earlier today on camera, he simply defeated blue-white control.
Yeah.
But as you said, it is not appreciably different. He just happens to have access to some green cards. In that matchup, I have to assume that Mistcutter Hydra is the trump.
Well, here's the Supreme Verdict being the trump. A little 4-for-1 action. Get all those things off the table. As we are in game number 3 here. 1 or 15 minutes. There is a Temple of Mystery. Take a look at the top card. Will Casasola put that card to the bottom 7 cards. Pass the turn back over to Mai, who will draw another copy of Mistcutter Hydra.
Okay. Alan looks like he's missed some land drops here. He had mana in the form of some creatures. He had a Voyaging Satyr, Sylvan Caryatid before. Now he's back down to just 4 mana, so that is just a hasty Hill Giant.
Mistcutter Hydra is really weird, actually, in this particular matchup, but against blue-white in general, because like it obviously is really good, but Elspeth is like a big problem for the card. So if you set it at 4 or more, Elspeth can gun it, but if you set it at 3 or less, then Elspeth can triple block it.
Sure.
And so you're in this kind of just rock in a hard place what you want to do with it. There's also this card called Archangel of Thune,
yeah,
which is going to make it look really bad now.
Oh yeah, yeah. This is Rug. This is not green-white. I played green-white for a long time. That had access to Selesnya Charm.
Yep.
You could crash a 3/3 into an Archangel of Thune all day if you have green and white cards in your deck. But here, there's not really anything that Alan can even represent. He could represent Gore-Clan Rampager. That would be a very strange card to see in his deck. And I think Oscar can safely put him off of that card.
I think if you're Oscar and that Mistcutter Hydra comes in the red zone, you can't block fast enough. Go ahead. Show me what you're working with. I want to get blown out. You know, I can't imagine what card you can have. Sure, if it's Gore-Clan Rampager, good stuff. You got rid of my card. That's probably your turn as well.
Oh, yeah.
Since you're bottlenecked on mana. So if Mistcutter comes in, I couldn't block fast enough.
This looks like a Kiora from Alan.
Yeah.
So that's a pretty reasonable solution, actually, to that Archangel.
Alan wasn't thrilled that that's his turn. You know, his body motions, all of that stuff is just fine. Play Kiora, pass the turn back.
No.
He's obviously not thrilled with that being his turn, but that's the best he can do right now on this board.
It's actually a totally solid turn. I think what he's mostly not thrilled about is not being able to leave up Negate.
Yeah. Detention Sphere going to take care of Kiora immediately. You see Oscar has another copy of Archangel of Thune in his hand, also has an Elspeth. He's going to drop the Elspeth. Plus this, here come the 3 soldier tokens, and now Mistcutter Hydra is getting worse and worse and worse.
Now this is, we saw that other Archangel in hand. Archangels stack.
They do.
Yeah, if you, and actually the second Archangel kind of has a weird form of haste.
Yeah.
If you have the first one in play. So Oscar could have a really sweet turn.
Really sweet turn and a really big army.
Yeah.
You see Alan still bottlenecked on mana here. Draws a Burning Tree Emissary, but obviously Burning Tree is not going to be as good in this position as it was a little bit earlier when we watched him play in combination with Nykthos. There is the Brain Tree Emissary. The follow-up is going to be Pulachronos, World Eater. But again, he can't leave Negate up. But in this situation, leaving Negate up isn't going to do very much.
Now, Alan actually gave Oscar a creature to kill with Elspeth's down tick. And there's an argument for using it here. Once you attack with that first Archangel, you can never use it again. Although Oscar actually just has an answer anyway. So it looks like that's not even going to be a consideration for him.
You got Elspeth ticking up. You got the Tentasaur taking care of Pulachronos. We might see another copy of Archangel pre-combat. Not sure. See, the players organize everything so you guys can see it at home. And here is 5 mana in the main phase. So here is another copy of Archangel.
This is spicy.
Yep.
So that swing, that's going to gain life once, but it's going to trigger the Archangel twice. So we're looking at 2 +1/+1 counters on each of Oscar's 8 creatures. This is not an army to sneeze at here.
That's an average board.
Yeah.
Takes a lot more than that to impress me, Shroud.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'm impressed.
Yeah, I'm a tough crowd.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm sorry.
I guess I'm not jaded like you said.
When are we gonna get Archangel through into some main decks? I'm so tired of it coming in from sideboards. Like, this card is awesome, and just no one plays it in their main deck.
Sure.
It's crazy to me.
Well, it's much better once your opponent boards out the things like Mizium Mortars that would otherwise suck. You know?
Sure. I don't know, it's just like it's such a powerful card. I mean, I definitely agree with you. It's, they board their removal, you board an Archangel, but you also know that, like, everyone is doing that, is playing that little trick now of, like, okay, you'll board out removal, I'll board my Archangel.
Yeah, for sure.
So I don't feel like it should be getting people anymore, for lack of a better term. I guess maybe Archangel is just better after sideboard no matter what people do. It just feels like a card that is, because it's so powerful, and every game where you see it in the sideboard games, like, I see this a lot.
Yeah.
Which is like kind of ridiculous to say, but you see Archangel do this a lot to people after sideboard. Like, I got my Elspeth tokens, I got my giant Lifelinger that you can't possibly beat, and you don't ever see this card in main decks. Mutavault's going to get fired up now too.
Not bad. Now, when 2 lifelink creatures attack, that still just is 1 instance of gaining life. So still just the 2 triggers, just 2 triggers.
Yes, just 2.
Yeah, so we're looking at just 5/5s, just 6 5/5s, and 3 3/3s, and I don't know how big those Archangels are. But
yeah, those Archangels right now, they're 5/6s. They're going to get bigger. They'll turn into 7/8s. You got the tokens that'll turn into 5/5s, just assuming some of them live through combat. Alan having access to 2 green mana will allow him, and you see Revelation. Revelation pre-damage is a lifelink trigger, so it will trigger both those Angels again. Things will get pretty out of hand. So Alan says, you know what, that's enough for me.
Yeah.
You got it, Oscar. So Oscar Casasola is going to win this match with band control over Rug Devotion and move on to 8-1 as well.